Tonight, our journey takes us to ancient Egypt, where the great Nile has shaped the rhythm of life for countless generations. The warmth of the afternoon still lingers in the air, though the day has begun its gentle descent towards evening. A soft breeze moves through the reeds beside the river, carrying the scent of fresh water and damp earth, while the broad surface of the Nile reflects the fading sunlight in slow ribbons of gold. The riverbank is quiet, save for the gentle lapping of water against a handful of reed boats resting at their moorings. Their woven hulls rise and fall almost imperceptibly with each passing ripple. Nearby, a fisherman untangles the last of his nets before carefully rinsing them beneath the cool water. Tiny droplets catch the evening light for a brief moment before disappearing into the slow current that has carried life through Egypt for thousands of years. A pair of white egrets lift gracefully from the reeds ahead, gliding low across the river before settling once more among the tall papyrus. The plants sway gently together whenever the breeze returns, their feathery crowns whispering softly above the water. Somewhere further along the bank, a boatman calls a quiet farewell to a friend before securing the final rope for the evening, his voice quickly swallowed by the vast openness of the Nile. The path follows the gentle curve of the river, where smooth stones have been warmed by the afternoon sun. Palm trees lean lazily over the water, their long fronds stirring with each passing breeze. A kingfisher flashes across the river in a streak of brilliant blue before disappearing into the reeds, leaving only widening circles upon the otherwise undisturbed surface of the Nile. Ahead, a narrow canal branches away from the river, carrying cool water towards the fertile fields beyond. Its quiet current slips between banks lined with papyrus and wild grasses, feeding the dark soil that has sustained generations of families. Tiny frogs disappear beneath the water as your footsteps approach, while dragonflies hover effortlessly above the slow-moving stream. A farmer walks beside two patient oxen as they make their way home for the evening. Their steady footsteps leave soft impressions in the damp earth, while wooden yokes creak gently with every stride. Neither man nor animal appears hurried. The work of the day has been completed, and the evening now belongs to quieter moments beneath the slowly cooling sky. Beyond the irrigated fields, neat rows of barley and emmer wheat sway gently together in the fading light. Small irrigation channels weave carefully between them, each carrying the precious water that makes life here possible. The rich black soil feels cool beneath your feet now, releasing the earthy scent that follows the warmth of a long Egyptian afternoon. A family gathers the final woven baskets from the edge of the field before beginning the short walk home. The youngest child pauses for a moment to watch a cluster of tiny birds searching the freshly watered ground for insects. No one rushes the journey. There is comfort in these familiar routines, repeated with the changing seasons beside the faithful river. The path gradually leaves the open farmland behind as the first mud brick homes begin to appear beyond a grove of date palms. Their pale walls glow softly beneath the evening sun, while flat rooftops catch the final warmth of the day. Thin ribbons of smoke rise lazily into the still air, carrying the comforting scent of bread baking for the evening meal. The narrow path becomes a quiet lane between rows of sun-dried mud brick homes. Their walls hold the warmth gathered throughout the day, while open doorways invite the evening breeze inside. Woven baskets rest neatly beside wooden stools, and clay jars stand cooling in the shade. Somewhere nearby, gentle conversation drifts through an open courtyard before fading into the calm of the village. A small cat stretches lazily upon a low stone wall before slipping silently between the houses. It pauses only briefly beneath the shade of a fig tree, watching a pair of children chase one another across a dusty courtyard. Their laughter carries lightly through the warm air before slowly giving way to the quieter sounds of families settling in for the evening. The comforting aroma of freshly baked bread grows stronger with every step. Outside one home, round loaves rest upon woven cloths to cool before the evening meal. A woman brushes a light dusting of flour from her hands, while another carefully grinds grain using a smooth stone quern, her steady rhythm continuing without hurry as the last light begins to soften. Clay ovens release gentle waves of warmth into the cooling air, carrying the rich scent of bread, onions, and herbs through the narrow streets. Wisps of smoke drift slowly upwards before disappearing into the clear Egyptian sky. The day's work has quietly given way to simpler routines, repeated so often that every movement seems calm, familiar, and wonderfully unhurried. You pass a shaded courtyard where woven mats have been laid across the ground beneath a broad sycamore tree. An elderly man sits quietly mending a fishing net while listening to the soft murmur of nearby conversation. Beside him, a small clay bowl catches the golden evening light, its smooth surface glowing warmly against the deepening shadows gathering around the walls. Further ahead, the lane gently widens as several paths meet beside a simple village well. A donkey lowers its head to drink while its owner patiently waits nearby, resting one hand upon the worn wooden harness. The water reflects the first hints of evening color overhead, disturbed only by slow ripples spreading gently across its quiet surface. As the lane widens, a small marketplace comes gently into view. The busiest hours have already passed, leaving behind a slower, quieter rhythm. Woven baskets filled with figs, dates, and onions remain neatly arranged beneath simple linen awnings, while merchants exchange unhurried conversations with neighbors before preparing to return home. No one seems eager for the evening to end. One merchant carefully folds a length of fine linen before placing it inside a cedar chest, smoothing each crease with practiced hands. Beside him, polished pottery catches the golden light of the lowering sun, its painted surfaces glowing with warm shades of red and ochre. The market has become less a place of trade now, and more a place where familiar faces linger together. Nearby, a fruit seller gathers the final handfuls of ripe dates into woven baskets, pausing now and then to brush away a few fallen leaves. The sweet scent hangs softly in the warm air, mingling with fresh herbs and the earthy fragrance of nearby clay. A customer offers a grateful smile before continuing home with the evening's provisions tucked beneath one arm. A potter sits quietly outside his workshop, turning a newly finished bowl slowly in his hands as he inspects its smooth surface. Satisfied, he places it alongside several others waiting to cool before tomorrow begins. Fine traces of clay still cover his fingertips, though he seems in no hurry to wash them away. The day's work has been honest, and it is enough. The steady tapping of a carpenter's tools echoes gently from beneath a shaded doorway. He shapes one final piece of wood before setting his tools neatly upon the bench, brushing away the pale curls of freshly cut timber. The scent of cedar lingers pleasantly in the still evening air, while tiny flecks of sawdust drift lazily to the ground around his feet. A little further along, the sound of quiet conversation gradually gives way to something softer still. The marketplace begins to fade behind you as wider streets stretch ahead, lined with tall walls whose shadows now reach almost to your feet. Above them, the tops of towering columns begin to rise into view, their painted capitals glowing beneath the final light of the day. The street gradually opens into a broad stone avenue where the sounds of the village become little more than a distant memory. Ahead, immense sandstone walls rise calmly into the evening sky, their surfaces glowing with the warm colors of the setting sun. Long shadows stretch between them, inviting you forward at the same gentle pace that has carried you here since leaving the river. Great columns stand in quiet rows, each one carved with graceful patterns that catch the last golden light upon their edges. Their painted colors have softened beneath countless seasons, yet they remain rich with deep blues, reds, and golds. Looking upward, they seem almost to disappear into the vastness above, where swallows circle lazily through the cooling evening air. A faint fragrance of incense lingers in the stillness, carried gently through the open courtyards by the evening breeze. Somewhere nearby, footsteps echo softly across smooth stone before fading once again into silence. There is no urgency here, only a deep and unbroken calm that settles naturally over every corner of the great temple complex. You continue between the towering columns, where the air feels pleasantly cooler beneath their welcome shade. Sunlight filters through the spaces above, painting slow bands of golden light across the ancient floor. Tiny grains of dust drift quietly through each beam, moving so gently that they seem almost suspended within the peaceful silence surrounding you. Beyond the final courtyard, the western horizon glows with deep shades of amber and rose as the sun approaches the edge of the desert beyond the river. The evening breeze grows a little cooler now, carrying with it the familiar scent of fresh water once again. Without realizing it, your footsteps have begun to guide you gently back towards the Nile. The towering walls slowly fall behind as the path slopes gently downward between clusters of palm trees. Through their swaying leaves, the broad ribbon of the Nile comes back into view, its surface now calmer than ever beneath the fading light. The river seems to welcome you once more, just as it welcomed the countless travelers who have walked these banks before. A small reed boat rests quietly against the riverbank, its rope loosely tied around a weathered wooden post. The boatman steadies the vessel with one hand before offering a warm smile as you step aboard. The woven reeds flex gently beneath your feet, settling almost immediately once your weight comes to rest. For a brief moment, the boat waits in perfect stillness beside the shore. With one slow push of a wooden pole against the riverbed, the boat eases away from the bank. There is no sudden movement, only the gentle feeling of the current gradually taking hold. The familiar sounds of footsteps, conversation, and village life begin to soften behind you, replaced by the quiet rhythm of water flowing endlessly around the slender hull. The boatman now exchanges the pole for a simple oar, dipping it carefully into the water with long, effortless strokes. Each movement is smooth and unhurried, disturbing the surface only for a moment before the river quietly settles once again. Tiny circles spread gently across the Nile, widening until they disappear into the evening light. The river feels wider now. Looking across its broad surface, the opposite bank seems almost dreamlike beneath the warm glow of the setting sun. Clusters of papyrus bend softly in the evening breeze, while graceful birds skim low above the water before disappearing into the reeds that line the distant shore. Behind you, the temples gradually become smaller with every passing moment. Their towering columns remain visible above the palms, glowing softly beneath the final rays of sunlight. Reflected upon the calm river, they appear almost weightless, as though suspended between the water below and the sky above. The warmth of the day finally begins to give way to the coolness of evening. A gentle breeze drifts across the Nile, carrying the fresh scent of water mixed with reeds and damp earth. It brushes softly against your face before continuing downstream, disappearing into the quiet distance ahead. The western sky slowly deepens into shades of amber, rose and soft violet. Their colors stretch across the river in long shimmering bands that break apart with every gentle ripple. The boat glides silently through them, leaving only a faint trail that quickly disappears behind you, as though it had never been there at all. For several peaceful moments, nothing changes except the quiet movement of the river itself. The oar slips into the water, a ripple spreads gently away, the boat continues forward. Then the oar rises once more, carrying tiny silver droplets that fall silently back into the Nile before vanishing beneath its timeless current. As the last edge of the sun disappears beyond the western horizon, a deep blue twilight settles gently across the landscape. One by one, the brightest stars begin to reveal themselves overhead. Their reflections shimmer quietly upon the river, joining the first lanterns now glowing along the distant shoreline. Somewhere among the reeds, crickets begin their familiar evening song. Frogs answer from hidden pools along the riverbank, their gentle calls rising and falling together without ever disturbing the stillness. Instead, they seem to belong perfectly within it, becoming another peaceful thread woven into the night's quiet tapestry. The current continues its patient journey northward, asking nothing of those who travel upon it. There is nowhere to hurry, nothing to chase, only the gentle certainty that the river knows its path, just as it always has, carrying each passing evening calmly into the night beyond. The lanterns along the shoreline now appear as tiny golden stars resting upon the earth. Their reflections stretch lazily across the water before breaking apart beneath the passing boat. Even these small lights grow fewer with every bend in the river, leaving the night to become quieter still. Above you, the stars now outnumber the fading colors of the sky. The moon casts a soft silver path across the Nile, gently illuminating the slow ripples surrounding the boat. Everything beyond that delicate light dissolves into peaceful darkness, leaving only the quiet company of the river beneath the night sky. The boatman continues rowing with the same calm rhythm as before, each stroke so effortless that it seems almost part of the river itself. Nothing breaks the silence except the occasional drip of water from the oar and the soft whisper of reeds swaying together along the shoreline. Looking back one final time, the distant temples have become little more than silhouettes against the horizon. The village lights have disappeared completely now, leaving only the endless ribbon of the Nile flowing beneath a sky filled with quiet stars. The world feels wonderfully simple once again. The boat drifts onward without haste, carried gently by waters that have flowed through Egypt for countless generations. Long before these quiet moments, and long after tonight has passed into memory, the Nile will continue its patient journey beneath the same stars that watch over you now. Before long, even the sound of the oar becomes less noticeable. Your attention settles instead upon the slow rhythm of the river itself, steady and reassuring beneath the boat. The cool evening air, the gentle current, and the peaceful silence seem to blend together into one endless moment of calm. Thank you for joining me on tonight's peaceful journey along the Nile. I hope these quiet moments have helped you relax, unwind, and perhaps even drift gently into sleep. Until our next journey, sleep well and good night.